It's another week in HOLLYWOKE. We have some concerning news about yet another tragedy that struck the team behind Best Documentary, Academy Award winning Best Documentary, No Other Land. If you guys missed that, No Other Land, a story about the West Bank, a story about Palestine and Israel, people working together on this film. The directors that were co-directed by an Israeli and a Palestinian who co-directed the film. The film takes place before October 7th. It managed to win Best Documentary this past year. Then, unfortunately, later you had the Palestinian co-director was captured and tortured and beaten by the IDF for 24 hours, and Hollywood said nothing about it. They said nothing about it. They were too busy giving Gal Gadot a star on Hollywood Boulevard. That's right, Israeli ex-IDF soldier trainer from the IDF. That's Gal Gadot, an actual murderer of innocent people in Lebanon, which she did in 2006 before she was handpicked to be Wonder Woman or be put into Hollywood, and then 10 years later get a star on Hollywood Boulevard. Congratulations, you've gotten sooner than anybody else ever in the history of ever. 10 years, that's quite a feat. Most actors take 20 years to get a star on Hollywood Boulevard, but that's neither here nor there. What is important is that this movie, No Other Land, was highly protested against within Hollywood, and there was an active boycott of the film because we don't want to see a story about the West Bank. We don't want to see what happened before October 7th. We don't want to see it. So the IDF punishing one of the directors who just got an Academy Award 3 weeks later is in IDF captivity, being tortured and beaten. No, Hollywood doesn't care about that. Other film festivals in other areas of the world all stood up and said something about this horrible atrocity that was committed against the co-director of the film. The Academy Awards here in Hollywood said nothing. Why am I bringing this up now? Because another tragedy has struck this film team of No Other Land, and Hollywood is pretty quiet about it. You can find the report, but they're pretty quiet about it. Let's see what happened. Well, we did find it in Hollywood Reporter, so I'll give them that. They did put this out. The Palestinian activist featured in Oscar-winning No Other Land was killed in the West Bank. Israeli co-director Yuval Abraham on his X page posted a video of Israeli settler Yinon Levy allegedly shooting at Palestinians during a West Bank confrontation. Palestinian activist Awad Hathalin, who was featured in the Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, has been allegedly gunned down and killed in the West Bank adjoining Israel. The co-director with the Palestinian filmmaker put the claim, they're calling it a claim. It was a claim. No, this really happened. It's not a claim. It's reporting journalism, because our news outlets are not going to do it here. So we have to use Twitter to report news. But no, it's a claim. According to this Hollywood Reporter story, it's a claim that Yinon Levy has shot him. An Israeli settler just shot Oda Hadalin in the lungs, a remarkable activist who helped us film No Other Land in Masafer Yatta. Residents identified Levy, sanctioned by the EU and US, as the shooter. This is him in the video, firing like crazy. Abraham posted, the Israeli filmmaker included a video that apparently shows Levy with a gun in hand and in confrontation with Palestinians. Here is the video.
ضرب احمد السن الباقر يا زلمه ضرب احمد.
Story's been verified. It happened. You're not going to know it if you're here in Hollywood. You're not going to know that this happened. Just like you didn't know that the co-director was held captive and tortured for 24 hours, 3 weeks after winning the Academy Award. You would not know if you're here. You would not even know. In fact, you wouldn't even know who won the best documentary. You don't even care. But you do know about Gal Gadot getting a star on Hollywood Boulevard. That you did. You would know that if you're here in Hollywood. Adam reports that, yes, Palestinian activist Awad Hathaleen, contributor to the Oscar-winning No Other Land, was shot dead by Israelis in the West Bank, where there is no Hamas. Just to be clear, West Bank is not in Palestine. It's not in Gaza. It is Palestine, but it's being occupied, just like all of Palestine, being occupied by Israel. And there is no Hamas in the West Bank. The killing happened during an occupier-led land raid with a bulldozer. Israel is an evil entity. Now, to put salt on a wound, if it's not bad enough that this happened, if it's not bad enough that there will be no repercussions for the Israeli occupiers, there will be no follow-up. I guarantee you there will be no follow-up on the story in the Hollywood Reporter. They reported it as allegedly, supposedly. That's it. That's the end of the story. Well, what about the funeral? Well, we can tell you this. What we found out was that the body of the filmmaker, of Hathaleen, was stolen. So they can't bury the body. The IDF took the body. They wouldn't even leave him with the family. And now we're hearing that the family of Hathaleen, the friends and family of Hathaleen in the West Bank that are still living, they are on a hunger strike right now on behalf of Hathaleen not having his body. The Hollywood Reporter didn't report that part of the story because they wanted you to think this was alleged and might have happened, might not. We don't know. We don't care. We just thought we'd throw it out there and move on. An Academy Award-winning film, a filmmaker in that film is dead. The body stolen by Israel, and it can't even have a proper funeral. Do you want to hear what's more infuriating than that? The family decided to have a funeral anyway without the body. You want to see what happened there? You're not going to believe this. The IDF raided the funeral with the missing body. Not kidding. Here you go. Israel soldiers raids the funeral. Again, there's no body for the funeral, but they show up. Most of these family members were on a hunger strike. This was the shot from the win. You know what? Let me take the volume down on this so you can hear me. This is the video again from July 28th, where the murderer of the filmmaker, Lenon Levy, murders him. He was raided. So he's on house arrest, apparently. He's designated the entire... Wait, let me go back on that one. Hold on. Let me see that one again. The Israeli military has designated Hathalin's entire community Maser Feri Yata, a closed military zone. Really? So the entire community is now closed after this incident. That doesn't sound like it's to benefit the people in West Bank. This sounds like it's a military action designed to continue to raid. The raid they were doing is now they're continuing that raid, and they're continuing to take land and take property and annihilate these people in the West Bank, which again, there's no Hamas. It's not in Gaza. This is happening right now. And again, that's the end of the report from the Hollywood Reporter. But Al Jazeera is reporting on this. Al Jazeera is reporting on this. The No Other Land documented how Israeli settlers. So this is what the movie was about. The movie itself was about how Israeli settlers and soldiers working to forcibly expel the Palestinians who live there in the West Bank. The movie takes place before October 7th, before the genocide in Gaza started. But this is the illegal occupation in the West Bank, where there is no Hamas, and how the settlers and soldiers work to forcibly expel the people living there, the Palestinians. The film is made by a Palestinian director, co-directed with an Israeli citizen, co-directing the film together in unison. And nothing really being done about this at all. So the forces have harassed the families and the mourners of the murdered Palestinians before. It's not the first time. Obviously, they love to do that. Here's another example, 2022. Before October 7th, 2023, Israeli police raided the family home and funeral of Palestinian-American Al Jazeera's journalist, Sharif Abdul Ali. We knew this one, Ali. We knew, or Akli. I got to pronounce that one correctly. We knew about this one as well when this happened. But this is ongoing. This isn't something that just was recent. They've been doing this for years and years, and that's just another example. Let's see if there's any more onto this story from Al Jazeera. That was another, yeah. So these funerals get raided all the time. And she was reporting from the West Bank, and they killed the journalist on purpose, reporting from the West Bank in 2022. And now, since October 7th, 2023, over 1,000 Palestinians have been killed just in the West Bank alone. And this is the filmmaker from No Other Land who was murdered. And the Hollywood Reporter can only say allegedly murdered. According to the filmmaker, we don't know. We don't care. We don't care about the body not being returned. We don't care about the funeral being raided by the IDF. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. But that's how we do it here in Hollywood. Let's do this, because I think that there's one more story I wanted you guys to know in HOLLYWOKE this week, which is kind of related if you think about it from a storytelling point of view. So here's what we're going to talk about. I'm gonna attempt to connect the dots with this previous story, what the responsibility is of the filmmaker in Hollywood, the responsibility of being truthful in storytelling. When does journalism and entertainment collide? Well, it collides when you're making documentary. I've been making documentaries for years before I ever considered myself a journalist. It's about going to the story, getting the story, finding a way to present the story to the audience in a theatrical way. Sometimes you have, with music and cuts, and there's emotional build. Same thing you do in a Hollywood film, but you do it in a documentary. But it's a way to tell a story that maybe hadn't been told. That's where journalism and entertainment merge. Okay, so you would hope that the goal was, if the goal is to be honest with your audience and get them in the seats and figure out ways you can use your creativity, because that's the only difference really between a journalist and a filmmaker really should be the element of creativity. That should be it. You should on paper, in theory, have the same integrity of wanting to be honest with your job. Unfortunately, neither are honest. They've both of these industries, journalism and entertainment, have been hijacked. And the people who flourish in these two industries are people who do the opposite. The people who succumb to propaganda and getting and protecting people in power and getting paid to be dishonest. So when we saw this come up on our feed, this was infuriating. And this will show you that the space we're heading to in the new age of AI taking over Hollywood, AI being the most inauthentic technology we've ever experienced in storytelling genre. AI is not just taking over entertainment, it's taking over journalism too. And there's no better example than this. I'm gonna go like this. It's air quotes. This interview It's an AI interview. And I want you guys to really take this in. It's pretty short. It's pretty short. But it's an AI interview, and it's conducted by a human being with an AI person being interviewed. The human being is former CNN host Jim Acosta, who's interviewing a non-human. It's an AI version of, get this, a deceased Parkland victim to push gun control from the Parkland shootings. So as a filmmaker, if I were to make a documentary about the Parkland shootings, and there's a lot to look into there because there's a lot of shit they did not tell us about that. And it would be actually a great topic to go make a documentary about and to be an honest filmmaker. That's not happening. What is happening is that an agenda is being pushed using technology to entertain you in what they're calling an interview. But what you're about to see is 100% pure entertainment. It's not real. But this type of technique is going to start being used more and more to push a pre-decided agenda and using entertainment and calling it journalism and then calling that film, whatever you want to call it. They're not going to call this filmmaking. They're going to call this journalism. But they're using elements of entertainment of very nefarious techniques that are not honest, are not sincere, are the exact opposite of what we just talked about. Both these industries need to do more of. They're doing less of. And if this doesn't sum it up right here, check this out. Let this process. We're going to talk about it after. Here we go.
I'd like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that's a great idea, Joaquin.
What the hell are we watching? I think that's a great idea, Joaquin. So this is a script. This is a script. This is a Hollywood produced interaction. They're calling it an interview, but it's not. It's a scripted scene right out of Hollywood using AI. Make you think you're watching an interview that is got integrity behind it. It doesn't. It's a pre-conceived concept with a script. The AI is already pre-programmed to tell you what you want it to say, to make it look like something organic is happening when it's not. And the idea is, oh, well, we're not, look, the defense is, oh, well, we're not trying to pretend this kid's alive and it's a real interview. We're just showing you what it would look like. Would look like according to who? The person writing the check for this that has an agenda? Yeah. So the merging of journalism and entertainment is no more apparent than it is in this example. And the direction we're headed because of technology, because of AI, is going to make these two things indistinguishable. Whereas before AI, before my big awakening here in Hollywood, when I thought that I was surrounded by filmmakers that cared about honesty and integrity, which they don't, they care about their careers. They care about, what do I have to say to get the job? What do I not say to get the job? What am I allowed to be angry about? What am I not? Give me my pecking orders. Email me the thing to be upset about. Email me when it's okay to be in the street, which it was for SAG and WGA strikes. It wasn't for ending the mandates. It wasn't for Free Palestine. It certainly wasn't for January 6th. That you can count on. But the merging of these two industries is inevitable now, and not in the direction it should be. What I used to think was you can merge these two things in with the umbrella of integrity and getting to the truth. And that's what documentary filmmaking was supposed to be about. I'm an award-winning filmmaker, documentary filmmaker. We made an honest piece in Venezuela back in 2017. Won the Beverly Hills Film Festival for the film Tupamaro. Went to Venezuela, got a real story on the ground. Made the festival circuit. Won a bunch of awards. So are those days over? Looks like it. Looks like it. If you have an agenda, you can create the interview you want and tell the story you want to tell. Not do the real reporting, not do the real investigation. So as journalism becomes more and more about propaganda, entertainment, filmmaking becomes more about fake visuals, fake storylines, scripted AI scripts that are literally written by an AI, not by a human being. Checking DEI boxes, studio approved. And now what is the difference? What is the difference between the next Marvel film and Jim Acosta interviewing a dead kid and telling you what you want to hear? What's the difference? Doesn't matter anymore. And Tom Hanks tells you, I don't care if they make an AI of me and I win an Academy Award after I'm long dead. I don't care. I can't wait to know that. Actually, in fact, I love that idea. Tom Hanks has said on record, I'll be long gone and generations, beyond me, generations well and beyond me will experience my talents. And I might come out and accept an Academy Award as an AI for my role in Forrest Gump 5 or whatever. That I can't wait for that. That'll be awesome after I'm dead. So what is the difference? Well, that's the end. That's the end of journalism. That's the end of entertainment. Everything's fake. Everything is controlled. Everything is pre-planned. So the feelings that you're going to feel, and I'm guilty of this too, as a filmmaker, we want you to feel something. We want to add music. We want to add a transition. We want to edit something in a way that's going to make you feel something. I always try to do that in an honest way. But the more and more we look at the trajectory, the more we see that we're getting further and further away from honesty and integrity. And both these industries are destined to fail, and it looks like they're failing together. That is This Week in Hollywood. Okay, let me take a moment to introduce you to our good friends over at World Harvest Food Bank right here in LA. World Harvest has been serving families across Los Angeles for 18 years now, and they started with this simple idea. Everyone deserves access to healthy, affordable food no matter what they're going through. With their Cart with a Heart program, families can walk away with a full cart of groceries, fresh produce, dairy, meat, and pantry supplies for just a $50 contribution. That's for the entire cart. That same cart will cost over $300 at a typical grocery store. At World Harvest, everyone is welcome. They don't ask for income verification, ID, or any paperwork. No. Basically, their doors are open to anyone who's doing their best, but just needs a little extra push to get by. If you're an Angelino like me, you know the times have been tough here. First with all the union strikes, the LA fires, and now the ICE raids going on. It seems like we're living in a constant state of uncertainty. And that's why it's so important to support local charities like World Harvest, because they aren't just helping the community. They're an essential function in its very survival. World Harvest is located at Venice and Arlington. And right now, you can use our special discount code THL20 for 20% off your contribution amount at checkout. And if you're not in the LA area, you can still help out with a $50 donation, which will provide a full cart of food for a family by going to worldharvestfoodbank.org or scan the QR code for more info. Or you can just spread the word. Follow them online. Let people know they're here for them, because at the end of the day, it's about providing choice, access, and relief without barriers. World Harvest Food Bank. End hunger now.